The city never sleeps. Yet, on that chilly autumn evening, the bustle on New York subway line 4 was notably vibrant. The clatter of wheels on tracks blended with the soft whispers of weary commuters. Keanu Reeves, donning a cap and dark sunglasses, sat tucked in a corner of the car, engrossed in a book. He relished subway rides, an opportunity to anonymously engage with a reality often missed in Hollywood's glamorous sphere. Near the door, Mildred Howell, a 73-year-old woman, clutched a bag to her chest. Her eyes scanned the car, visibly anxious. She held a ticket in her shaking fingers, its destination significant. An old orphanage in Harlem, soon to be demolished. Inside her bag were documents holding a secret that could save the place, and perhaps a significant part of her own story. Keanu noticed her unease. But before he could offer assistance, the car doors screeched open. A man in a dark jacket entered, scanning the surroundings with a cold, calculating gaze. He zeroed in on Mildred, inching towards her slowly. The man was inconspicuous, yet his gaze fixated on Mildred's bag. He positioned himself close to her, biding his time. Keanu, from across the car, sensed something off in the man's demeanor. His years of training for action movies kicked in, signaling that something was amiss. Mildred, lost in thought, was consumed by the significance of the documents in her bag. They detailed her life story and more. They were evidence that the orphanage where she grew up had been illegally acquired by a real estate corporation. If she could deliver them to the right person that night, it could save the place, and the memories of hundreds of children who had passed through. The man made his move. Quickly, he snatched Mildred's bag. She screamed, gripping the strap with unexpected strength. "No," she exclaimed, fighting to hold on to her precious cargo. Other passengers backed away. Some pulled out their phones to record, but none intervened. Keanu dropped his book. He stood up swiftly and dashed across the car. "Hey!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the space. The man hesitated for a moment, then pulled out a knife. "Stay out of this, or you'll get hurt," he warned. Keanu raised his hands slowly, maintaining his calm. "It doesn't have to be like this," he said. "Leave her bag and leave. No one will follow you." Mildred gazed at Keanu, recognizing him for the first time. She began, but her voice was drowned out as the train stopped at the next station. The distraction gave Keanu the moment he needed. He swiftly moved forward, grabbing the man's arm and twisting it. The knife clattered to the floor. The thief attempted to flee, but Keanu blocked his escape. "Are you okay?" Keanu asked, turning to Mildred. She nodded, clutching her bag tightly. "I am. But these documents, they need to reach their destination." Keanu looked at her curiously. "What documents? What's going on?" Before Mildred could respond, the thief took advantage of the distraction and escaped as the doors opened. Keanu was about to chase after him, but Mildred clutched his arm tightly. "Stop," she said. "The purse is with me. He can't take what he doesn't know about." Keanu paused. Torn between running after the thief and attending to the woman who clearly needed him. He exhaled deeply and chose to stay. "All right," he said. "Explain to me what's going on. Why are these papers so crucial?" Mildred hesitated. Yet, there was something about Keanu's gaze, perhaps his earnestness, that prompted her to confide in him. As the train moved on to the next station, she began her tale. "This orphanage," Mildred started, her voice shaky, "was my refuge throughout my childhood. It sheltered me and many other kids. It offered us a space to grow, modest though it was. Now, a corporation intends to demolish it to construct a luxury tower." She opened her handbag and pulled out a folder filled with aged documents. "These papers prove they have no right to tear it down," she said. "I found them in the orphanage's basement just before it was sealed off. They indicate that a philanthropist donated the property to the community over 70 years ago. It's illegal to sell it, but no one knows this yet. Keanu listened intently, hanging on every word. So, you need to get these documents to someone who can intervene before it's too late, he asked. Exactly, Mildred replied. There's a lawyer who agreed to help, but I must meet her tonight in Harlem. If I don't make it on time. Worry crossed Keanu's face. He checked his watch, then glanced at the approaching station. Let's get off the train, he said. I'll assist you. Exiting the station, they felt the tension rise. The streets of Harlem were eerily quiet at that late hour. Mildred gripped her bag as if her life depended on it, while Keanu stayed vigilant, scanning the shadowy alleys. Thank you for this, Mildred said. I don't even know how to repay you. Keanu offered a slight smile. I just want to help. Besides, my grandmother always said we should do good even when no one is watching. As they walked, the man in the dark jacket reappeared. This time, he wasn't alone, two accomplices flanked him. I thought you were a movie hero, sneered the thief. But you're just meddling. Keanu positioned himself in front of Mildred. Back off, he said. I won't let you harm anyone. Let's see if you're as good in real life as on screen, the thief taunted, advancing. The skirmish was brief yet fierce. Keanu utilized his martial arts expertise to disarm and disable the accomplices. One managed to flee, but the other two lay groaning on the ground. Mildred watched, wide-eyed. You really are a hero, she said. Keanu laughed, out of breath. Let's just say I've had plenty of practice. Now, we need to leave before more of them show up. They arrived at the building where the lawyer was waiting. Mildred handed over the documents, her hands still shaking, yet her eyes alight with resolve. Here's everything, she said. Please, save the orphanage. The lawyer perused the papers and smiled. This is enough. We'll take it to court tomorrow. You've done a great job, Mildred. As they left the building, Keanu walked Mildred to a taxi. You made it. You're safe. The orphanage is safe, he said. She held his hand for a moment. Thank you, Keanu, for everything. You didn't have to help me, but you did. Keanu smiled genuinely. Sometimes, things happen for a reason. Maybe I was in the right place at the right time. As the taxi drove away, Keanu stood on the sidewalk, pondering the night. He knew this story wasn't just about saving an orphanage. It was about connection, bravery, and the power of small actions that can change lives. That night, Keanu Reeves was certain of one thing: heroes aren't just on screens.